Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
When she went and took the dog to get the dog microchip, this is supposed to go on the collar of the dog, and it was never
Wait,
placed.
so the chip isn't inside the body of the dog?
That's what I thought, Your Honor.
But I guess the chip's in the body, but from what they was told,
If the chip's in the body, why can't we locate Coco?
This is the plaintiff, Jean-Robert Cadet. He says he hired the defendant to pet sit for his two dogs, and the careless woman lost one of them. That's right. She says the dog ran out of the house after seeing a bunny rabbit. He still can't find his beloved dog and is suing this terrible person for the $3,500 he's now owed because he's heartbroken. This is the defendant, Ananda. She says it wasn't her fault the plaintiff's dog bolted out the door because he loved bunnies, and she has a lot of them in her yard. She helped him look for the dog. She even offered to cancel a vacation so she could search more. But he said that's ridiculous and to go have fun. Then he turns around and sues her for $3,500? Come on. She's accused of losing a guy's dog. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $500, the amount she was supposed to get paid for dog sitting, plus defamation.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Cadet, you are suing Ms. Ananda for $3,500 that you say you are out as a result of her negligence. You are counterclaiming $500 for defamation and dog sitting. Let me hear from you first, Mr. Cadet. What's going on?
So this took place about a few months ago in July. I left the country to go visit family. I was gone for 2 weeks. I asked the plaintiff if she would be able to watch my dogs for me.
Were you two friends?
Yes.
Okay, had she ever dog sat for you before?
Yes, she has.
Was there an agreement that you would pay her for the dog sitting services?
Originally, there wasn't, but then when I was away, she called me and asked if I would be able to compensate her, considering I was going to go through a dog watching service, and I told her I would.
Do either of you discuss how much?
No.
Neither one of you does?
No.
All right, so then you come back from vacation and what happens?
So I come back from vacation, and on the 9th, I call her to let her know I'm back. I'd be getting ready to come get the dogs, and then a few minutes later, she calls me back and tells me that Coco ran away, Coco's gone. And so when I asked her what happened, she said she was literally loading up the car to bring them. She was putting the leash on Bear, and then she looked, and then Coco was gone.
Was she inside the house or outside the house?
She said she was inside the house.
All right, but how would Coco get out of the house?
Right, that was my main question. So I asked her, was someone propping the door open or holding the door? She said that her door's open or stays open sometimes. But what she didn't know is when I was at her house, I was observing the door, and every time the door opens, it closes automatically. It's the front main door of the house. So how could that door just be open for a dog to run out?
But what did she say? Did she say that it had to be open, or did she say, I saw it open?
She said, so this is when the story starts getting interesting, because the first time she said the door was open, but then when I asked why would the door be open, she says the door is always open. And then I asked, why would you have the door open if you're watching dogs? Oh, the time she had them, they never went out of the house. And then, oh, maybe Coco's seen a bunny because she has bunnies in her neighborhood.
Okay. Were you able to find Coco?
No.
Coco remains missing to this day.
Remains missing.
Which dog is this?
That's Coco.
What kind of dog is it?
She's a toy poodle, Shih Tzu, and Pekingese.
And this is Bear?
That was Coco when she was a puppy.
What happened, Ms. Ananda?
Good evening, Your Honor. What happened was an unfortunate accident. That's what happened. Basically, I was rushing around, had a busy day. So he calls me and tells me he's just landed. He's at home, and a gentleman that he lives with has his vehicle, so he's not able to come to my house. I say, okay, well, I'm running around. It's going to take me a little bit before I can get to you, but I will get to you. I literally got home. My boyfriend was going to work exactly at like 4 o'clock. I said, hey, can you do me a favor, grab Bear and Coco stuff because Bobby's home and I'm going to drop them off as I drop you to work. It's in the same route. I go in the house, Bear and Coco are right in the kitchen because, of course, when I come in, they're excited to see me. I clip Bear. As I clip Bear, I literally turn around and I'm like, is Coco? Now I'm calling her. She has been going up and down the stairs, so I look up the stairs and I'm like, Coco. I go to my front door, which was open. I say, hey, babe, did you see Coco come down the stairs? Because I'm calling her and I can't find her. He's standing literally on the sidewalk. He's like, no, Coco didn't come by me. Maybe go look up the stairs. I close my house door, run up the stairs in the house. I look around. I have a 4-bedroom. I'm looking in the house. I'm calling her now. I also have a cat. So I'm looking around, I'm calling the cat, maybe like the cat scared her. So I go back downstairs in my living room. Sometimes they hide under the couch. I look under the couch, my cat's under there. I'm like, okay, no Coco. So at this point I have Bear, I open my front door, I go down the stairs. I said, babe, I cannot find Coco. He's like, what? I said, I can't find her. That's exactly what I'm telling you, I cannot find her. He said, all right, let's go look for her, call Bobby. I said, I sure will. Me and my boyfriend, I went to the left, he went to the right, down Harvard Street, down Portland. Coco is about 7 pounds. I just took her to go do her rabies and they weighed her. She's about 7 pounds. Her legs can't go as fast as a bigger dog, of course, would go. So to me, in my mindset, and my boyfriend is like, how quick did this dog go? Where did she go? You
had just taken Coco and Bear to a vet appointment?
Yes, a couple days prior to it.
Had you expected to have to take the pets to a vet appointment?
No, ma'am. No,
so
ma'am.
He calls you from, where was he, Haiti?
Yeah.
He calls you and tells you they have an appointment, will you please take them?
Would you be able to bring them? And I
All right, and then he pays for the appointment, obviously.
Yes, ma'am.
And wasn't one of the things that got done at that appointment to have a chip put in?
Yes, ma'am.
So why can't we find Coco through the chip?
That's what I was asking. I'm not a dog owner.
Okay, why can't we find Coco through the chip?
Your Honor, unfortunately, we can't find Coco through the chip because when she went and took the dog to get the dog microchip, this is supposed to go on the collar of the dog, and it was never placed.
So the chip isn't inside the body of the dog?
That's what I thought, Your Honor.
But I guess the chip's in the body, but from what they was told,
if the chip's in the body, why can't we locate Coco?
Because this goes on the tag, and if Coco's missing, once they see this, they will know to scan her. If Coco gets found,
right? But if right now, if Coco goes to the vet because somebody found Coco, wouldn't the vet scan?
I believe so.
Because you know what's also on the collar? Your phone number. So can't be how the chip works. It's got to be that, you know, hey, I found this dog. Can you scan it? The vet scans to see if there's so nobody's called you to say Coco's been?
No, which leads me to believe that Coco could be somewhere, because how is it that she hasn't? I've been calling around, looking around. No.
You've been calling the pound and animal control and all that, and she hasn't surfaced.
And nothing yet.
I called, Your Honor, and I called the animal shelters, Cambridge. They're telling me, ma'am, we need his information. What kind of dog is it? What's this? What's that? And I'm like, I don't know this information. I text him. I asked him, I need a picture of her. He sends me a picture of her. I said, what's the information? He's like, have them call me. I'm like, okay.
Did they call you?
No.
Did you call them?
I called and I couldn't reach anyone.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How was she able to reach someone?
That's what I want to know.
You had an unusual reaction to this, because I'd go nuts from the beginning, but you were like super nice about it.
I was trying to keep my composure on it because at the time of arriving, I just started a new job over the summer and I was enrolled in my first graduate course. So unfortunately, I had to focus my attention on my studies and my education at the time. So it was as overwhelming as it was.
Yeah, but you were also enrolled in that same school when you were no longer okay. Did you at the beginning think Coco would be found?
I thought so at first, but then as I kept replaying what was said to me, certain things I heard her say, I just felt like her story wasn't adding up. If she gave
what do you think she did? And she killed Coco, like with her bare hands or something? Or you think Coco got
People are telling
lost?
me she could either sold her or she maybe has plans on breeding Coco maybe later because...
Well, why not just breed her with your permission and share in the...
I don't know.
She's your friend, right?
Right.
So much of your friend that she was willing to take care of the dogs originally for free, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So now Coco's gone, and your feeling was that he wasn't even trying that hard to find her.
Yes, ma'am.
Why do you feel that way?
I feel like that because I paid for the flyers. I feel like that because there was nothing around where I was at all, where she was even missing. We went to go print out flyers, and they never got printed. My boyfriend even offered to pay for her flyers to be printed. Before I went to Houston...
And what happened? Nobody ever put up flyers?
Ma'am, before I went to Houston, I printed out my own flyers of pictures that I have of Coco, screenshots, and I put them up, and my witnesses helped me put them up.
So you put up flyers, and then you're going to Houston, and do you talk to him before your trip?
Yes, yep. We had
And
a
what
discussion
conversation
before my
did you
trip.
have?
We came to the house. He came to my home. We talked. We cried together. I opened up to him, of course, as my friend, and he explained to me, listen, I don't blame you. I know nothing happened to Coco. I don't blame you. I want you to go spend this time in Houston with your best friend. You deserve it. People take advantage
Why, were
of
you offering to not go?
Yeah, I did not want to go in the beginning at all. I was kind of like having issues with the friend I was going with, and I was worried about Coco. I didn't know what was going on at all. I was scared. I've never been through this in my life. So I'm not even a dog owner. And I have a cat. So for me, I would be freaking out. I even said in text messages, I don't even want to bother going because I have already too much going on. And he's like, go, you deserve this. We'll find
And not
Coco
only that, he
together.
sends you some money.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can have fun on your trip.
Yes, ma'am.
That's such a weird thing to do for someone who you feel lost your dog.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of curious, why did you send her money to play with in Houston when the dog was still...
Well, I did tell her I was going to compensate her for watching the dogs, and I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm going to do something, I will. Because we didn't discuss the amount, I sent what I thought was feasible. Because at the end of the day, I believe in the universe. I'm a positive person, and I'm not gonna not keep my word. And I also.
So is that the only amount? Is that the only amount that went from you to her? The 200? Like the day you picked up the one dog, Bear, you didn't pay her anything other than the 200. Sorry. So then, right before her trip, you send her the 200, and now you're suing for that back because now you thought it through and you wish you hadn't. Grooming for Coco, $275. Why are you suing for that?
I'm not suing for that in particular. That's just to show the extent of the care I give Coco. I take good care of my dogs, Your Honor.
You've also listed the rabies shot, $2,000 in pain and suffering, and $1,000 that you paid for Coco. Right. And you're suing him for defamation and more money for dog sitting. You lost his dog.
I get that, Your Honor.
So then, but you're suing him for $400 more because you feel like you should be paid even more for losing a dog?
Not paid
How
more.
do you figure that it's not your fault? If not yours, then whose?
It's nobody's fault. Accidents happen.
Yeah, no, accidents happen. That's why, nobody's saying that you put your hands around the throat and throttled the dog. Nobody's accusing you of that. But when accidents happen, people have to pay, right?
Of
like
course.
that. If you have a car accident, if I crash into your car, I say accidents happen. Then you're going to look at me and say, yes, I understand you didn't hit me on purpose, but pay for my car, right? So that's what's happening here. He's suing you for the cost of the dog, but your answer is accidents happen. But it happened to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Because the dog got loose.
In my care, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So why are you suing him then for more dog sitting money and defamation of character?
Well, the defamation of character was just the unnecessary... I have this bad energy. When we last talked, it was I'm the devil, and just putting me out there to be somebody I'm after.
But to who? To you? Not. Just in private conversation?
To people who were around, everybody that was around.
Okay, I don't know what that means. So when you say everybody was around, were there people?
My witnesses who are here were around, sitting in the living room while we were all standing there.
And why? And he is saying that to you in front of them?
Yes, because
he is saying what to you?
The dog being lost, and he's like, "Don't say things like that because, that's the devil talking, and you're the devil. That's why Coco was missing." And I'm like, "I didn't."
Don't say things like what? What was it you had said that?
Your Honor, explain.
Yeah.
So we're at her house, and we're looking for something to watch. And she said she likes to watch.
This is after Coco's missing?
Yeah, so that evening when we're at the house, she explains to me she likes to watch, like, dark, scary, horrific things. And I was explaining that I'm opposite. I like positive. I like to watch uplifting, you know, things that aren't going to give me a bad vibe or a bad feeling. And so when she explained that Coco mysteriously ran out of the house, I said maybe from all the dark movies and shows you watch, you could have invited some entity in your house that scared the dog off. And that's what I said.
I think what happened is that somebody left the door open and the dog got out, period. And the dog never came back. So he's out a dog, and he'd like to be compensated. It's not that complicated. All right. On your counterclaim against him for more money for dog sitting, you would have to prove to me that you're owed more money, and I don't think you are. And for defamation of character, I don't think what you've described comes anywhere near being defamation of character. I understand, Mr. Cadet, that there's a lot of pain and suffering whenever an animal is concerned, because we consider them part of the family. I understand that. But dogs are property under the eyes of the law. So what you would be entitled to is not the money you've poured into the dog or the care you've taken of the dog or the pain and suffering you're suffering through the dog. What you're entitled to is the cost of the dog, okay? I'm ruling in your favor in the amount of $1,000. Verdicts for the plaintiff. Take care, folks.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff prevails. He's going to get $1,000 from the defendant for the loss of the dog. The defendant's on her way out of the courtroom. You know, I'm really surprised you actually filed a countersuit to get money when the dog was lost, you know, under your care. That takes a lot of nerve to do that, I think. But you didn't get it. You surprised?
Yes, it was an unfortunate situation. I was surprised, actually, because the $200 he did give me was not for the dogs. But, you know, it's sad that Coco was just not found.
So are you still friendly with him?
Oh, am I still
Is he friendly with you, I guess is really.
Right, exactly. I have no, you know, no problem towards him. You know, it's just an unfortunate situation, but I wish him the best, and, you know, that's it.
Well, it sounds like you did what you could when the dog disappeared. So I'm really sorry too. So unfortunately, that's it. That's the end of the case. You don't get any more money. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll get Mr. Cadet to come out. He is the plaintiff who obviously was devastated when he got the news that the dog was lost. I think any pet owner would feel the same way. Mr. Cadet, let me ask you how you're feeling now. How long has it been since this happened?
It's been about 2 months now.
All right, I'm so sorry for your loss. You're only going to get $1,000. You couldn't get any more. Are you all right with that?
I'm all right. I'm just sad the fact that Coco's out there probably just drinking tap water and eating grocery store dog food. But after that, I'll just, you know, hang in there, stay positive, and hope that I find her eventually.
Listen, we hope so too. Good luck.
So, Doug, this is simply a case where the defendant was negligent, and the negligence emanates from the leash law, that if a dog goes into a public place, the dog has to be restrained on a leash. And that means that if the dog is in a house and doesn't have to be in a leash, if you allow that dog to get out without a leash, that becomes the violation of the leash law. And the consequence here is that the dog seems to be missing for good.
If a person charges 600% interest for a loan, it is usury and it is illegal in most states. Why is it not usurious for a loan company to do it? I live in South Carolina. Is this legal?
With that kind of an APR, annual percentage rate, the guy's got to be talking about a payday loan, okay? And payday loans are high-risk loans. You're giving money for a short-term loan to a high-risk borrower. He's saying he's in South Carolina. In South Carolina, they can charge you $15 per 100. So if you borrow $100, next week you owe them $115, or it costs you $15. If you borrow $200, you pay them $230. But that equates to a 391% APR, which is pretty high. So if you can get it cheaper on a credit card, or if you have a payday loan and it's accruing high interest or something, pay it off with your credit card, which is probably an 18% annual percentage rate, something a lot lower.
Right. The entities that are allowed to charge that will never be like a private person. A person cannot do that.
Right.
But
that
there
would
are
be
some,
usury. It would
right.
be illegal.
And there are some entities that are allowed to do that. And you got to think of why they're allowed. They're allowed because there are some people who really, really need that money right now to not get evicted.
Right.
And nobody's going to loan them money because they've been really bad about things before.
Right. They have bad credit.
So you know, it's kind of a necessary evil in order to bridge some people, and that's why it's permitted in a lot of places.
Right. It's a lot of people find it very distasteful, and they say, oh, it's predatory, or however you want to describe it. But you know, it's a free market in the United States, and we let free people decide their own futures and their own reality. If they need the money, you let them go get it. What's the alternative? To go to a loan shark and have them break your legs if you don't make the payment? And that's no good, right? So, you know, payday loans, they have their place.
This is the plaintiff, Donald McGill. He says he loaned the defendant money, and she promised to pay him back, but hasn't. This woman has bad moral character because he discovered she stole his debit card and went on a spending spree with it. Bottom line, he wants the $395 she owes him, and he needs the judge to set her straight today. So she goes ahead and pays him back. This is the defendant, Danielle Everett. She says the plaintiff wanted to have a relationship with her, but she let him know she was working things out with her husband and wasn't interested. The guy even confronted her husband, and the cops had to be called on him because he was out of control. Bottom line, she doesn't owe him all this money, and she's pretty sure the judge will agree. She's accused of failing to cough up the dough.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant stole his credit card and went on a spending spree, and he wants his money back. But the defendant says the plaintiff wanted to have a relationship with her and gave her money for things, but she told him she was working things out with her husband, and here they are. It's the case of MasterCard of her own destiny.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. McGill, you're suing Ms. Everett for $395 in various loans that you made to her, and that according to you, she will not pay you back for. How do you know Ms. Everett?
We both live in the same trailer park, and I used to see her walking her dog down the street now and again. How we actually got speaking to each other, I don't remember. I think it was through a mutual acquaintance, but I'm not sure.
All right. And what kind of relationship did the two of you have that she felt comfortable asking you for money?
I don't think it was me. I think she would ask anybody. But
well, were you close?
She happened to, no, not at all. She happened to be here one time, and she was complaining about her lot in life. She felt lonely. She was isolated. She didn't have any transportation. She didn't have a phone, so she could, well, she had a phone, but there was no service. It was disconnected. So she couldn't talk to anybody. And she was going on about that. And then she asked me for, I think, $20 if I could loan it to her because, I don't know, I remember what she had to do, something.
So you loaned her the $20?
I did. The first time it happened, she offered to do some work around my place here for the $20. And I really didn't have anything for her to do. So I just said, you know, here, I'll loan it to you.
And when was she supposed to pay it back?
I didn't put a time on it.
All right. So you just told her to pay you when she could?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
But over the next period, over the next month or 6 weeks, whatever, she needed $10 for cigarettes. She needed $20 to give somebody gas money to take her somewhere. And by the end of a month or 6 months, it was up to about $195. Then one day she came over, and the real sense of urgency, she needed her $100 because her sister had to pay something the next day or the kids were going to get kicked out of school. Well, I live on Social Security. You know, I can't save the world. but I didn't want the kids kicked out of school either. So I'm kind of mulling this over. And she's like, somebody's getting paid in a few days and we'll pay you back. Or more likely, whoever they are, had a fortune saved up in food stamps and they'd come out and take me shopping.
Okay.
Well, food is a good thing, so I loaned her the 100. I didn't have it with me. Her sister drove out, and we went over to an ATM machine. Well, then just a few days after that, I think it was the end of January, she came over. She wanted another 100 because her mother had to have a car fixed so she could get to work. Well, now I'm like, wait a minute. Now I'm subsidizing the whole extended family here. That's what I said. Well, if I give you 100, that's going to get it up to $395. So I want an IOU for the whole amount.
Oh, now you want an IOU. So now you have her write out a promissory note, correct?
Yes.
Who does the writing? She does the writing?
She did the writing, yes.
And that promissory note, so here's the IOU that according to you she writes out, and it says $395. Okay. It takes a while for you to catch on, right? That maybe she's taking you for a ride? You think she was taking you for a ride?
Well, sooner, yes, after a while I did. At the end of January, I think it was the 30th, she called me from somewhere and she wanted me to send her $20. I said, what do you mean send it to you? She said, well, just use Cash App. And I said, I don't have that. I don't use any of these things. She said, well, put it in there. Now, I figured I was safe doing that because I had the IOU for the other amount.
Wait, I'm sorry. For how long had you been loaning her money and you had never seen a penny back?
From the early to middle December 2021 to towards the end of January.
Okay, so if you're not seeing any money and all she does is take, but she doesn't give anything, why do you contemplate loaning her another $20? Were you sweet on her?
No, not at all.
Did you make a pass at her?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
So when she tells you load Cash App on there, what do?
Well, I did try to load it in. I was just making too many mistakes. I got frustrated. I said, look, if you want this, come and do it.
So let me see if I got this right. You now invite her into your home so that she can use your phone and you hand her your debit card.
Right. Yes.
How'd that go?
What happened is she came in the door with the dog, and I have two pretty shabby reclining chairs, and in between them is a rather large TV tray kind of thing with a keyboard and mouse and some stuff on it. So I handed her the card, and I thought I was safe doing that because she didn't have my PIN number. And so she put the stuff in and did whatever. And then she put my card back down on this tray. And within less than 2 minutes, she said, oh, the dog has to go out. I didn't hear the dog say anything, but they went out the back door, and she didn't come back. Neither did the dog, but the dog was an innocent bystander.
And neither did your debit card.
Well, I didn't know that till the next morning. I got up and I was heading for the coffee pot, and then I noticed it wasn't on the tray where she left it.
All right. And did you check to see if anybody had used it the night before?
Yeah, I did. Immediately, I went to check my bank account, and there were 3 charges on there from the night before. One for $75, one for $20, and one for $6.95, I believe.
And
I called the bank.
And you called the bank and you contested those?
I called the bank right away, yes. And they canceled the card and issued me a new one.
All right, and they credited you those amounts. So you're not suing for that here, but you're throwing it in for...
The only reason I mention this is because I'm not out any money there. I'm just out a lot of nuisance time.
Right.
But the reason I bring it up is just to attest to her character, or lack thereof.
Okay. Let me hear from you, Ms. Everett.
Hi, Judge Million. Well, half of what he's saying is not correct. He's never loaned me. He loaned me $100 one time, and yes, my sister did need the $100, and I did go. He did give me the $20 the first time, like he said, that was true, and he lent me, I think, another $10. It was to get cigarettes, and he did lend me the $100. He never lent me $100 twice. That's not true. I never had his debit card.
Okay, so according to everything you just said, then you owe him $250.
No. He got paid back, and he also came out.
Do you have a receipt for paying him back?
No, because it was cash. But
right, no, that's exactly when you need a receipt is when it's cash. If you paid him by check, you wouldn't need a receipt. You could show your canceled check. So the time you actually need a receipt is when it's cash. So watch this.
You're right.
Did she pay you back?
No.
Mr. McGill. Oh, you're saying no. Oh. Okay.
No, he's going to say no. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, of course he's going to say no, Ms. Everett. And, of course, I'm not going to believe you unless you show me a receipt. Because why would he sue you if you had paid him all back? What would be his reason to come to court and bother to file a complaint and have to face me and everything? What would be the point if you had paid him back? And all you would have to do if you don't have a receipt is just before the money leaves your hand is grab the nearest roll of toilet paper and the nearest crayon and say, I got $20, I got $100, I got paid $250. That's all. Or send a text and have them say, yes, you just paid me. And then you've got it in writing. But you didn't do that, right?
No, I didn't.
No. He says that he has an IOU from you, and I am looking at it.
But I did
from
not
January
write an amount
25th.
on there.
Wait, did you write out this IOU?
When I wrote that promissory note, there was no amount on there. I did not put no amount on there. I wrote the promissory note out and I signed it. There was never an amount.
Wait, stop. Why would you write a promissory note and not put an amount? What's the point of the note?
My sister was in a hurry, okay? I wasn't thinking. I did write the promissory note out.
No. You're thinking enough to write, Danielle K. Everett, do owe Don McGill, and then there's the amount of $395. I mean, you thought enough to do that.
Listen,
I'm not talking to you now, Mr. McGill. I'm talking to you, Ms. Everett. Why would you sign a promissory note and leave it blank?
We wasn't finished. He never told me an amount to put on there.
Then don't leave until he tells you the amount. All you had to do is write 3 digits or don't write the promissory note. Why would you sign a blank promissory note?
Well, I wrote the promissory note out.
Yes, and then you left it, and then you signed it, and then you handed it to him for what? What reason would you do that? If you don't have time to wait 1 second while he calculates, then why would you do any of this? Because you're in too much of a rush. So leave. I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, and the fact that he said that he called the cops because my husband acted crazy, that is not true. My husband didn't even see that man until after he called the cops. The cops, for one, and that was when he said the debit card came up missing. I never took that man's debit card, okay? He did.
Where'd it go? Somebody took it that night and somebody used it.
No, they didn't.
Somebody put $75 worth of gas. How do you know?
No.
How do you know they didn't?
Well, it wasn't me. It might have been the girl that lived down.
Wasn't what came out of your mouth. It wasn't. I didn't do that. What came out of your mouth is no, they didn't. All right, but you didn't take the card, even though you were the last person there.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
If I wanted anything or need anything, I would ask him.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to another question. Why are you hitting this gentleman up for money every time?
Listen, I met him through a girl that got kicked. She actually got kicked out the trailer park because she was prostituting. And he had her and her husband that was tricking her out living with him. And he got several complaints to our manager, the manager of the trailer park, for her being there. Because when she got kicked out, her husband was never allowed back in here. And when I was walking by one day with my dog, she had asked me for a cigarette. I told her I didn't have one. I guess he was angry with her because he came out on the porch saying something to her. He offered me a drink. I told him I didn't drink, which he is an alcoholic. Okay.
I know what a bad person he is. He's an alcoholic.
I'm not saying he's a bad person.
A prostitute. I'm trying to understand why you,
I'm not saying he's a bad person.
Stop talking over me. I am trying to find out why you are constantly hitting him up for money. That's what I'm trying to find out.
I didn't. I asked him twice. I asked him for $100 once, and that's when my sister needed it.
And then the 40. Yeah.
Yep.
And then the 40.
20 and 10.
And then the 10.
That's 30. That's $130.
Okay. Well, we can argue. You can yell as much as you like about what the amount is.
Oh, I'm not trying to.
But when I'm looking at a promissory note that says, you owe $395, I'd like to understand why you signed this. Your answer is, I just left it blank for him to sign, but I don't like now what he put.
And I will say that the question about the $395 is definitely her writing because it's legible.
Yeah, that's actually the 9s. I noticed that the 9s are the same. They're like a sideways oval 9. That's how most people do it, but still.
That second $100, by the way, was also from the ATM because
Yeah, I don't need to hear anymore. Oh, but I do want to hear, Ms. Everett, this part. Did he hit up on you? Did he hit on you?
Yes.
Tell me about that. I want to know about him hitting on you.
Yeah, that's it. He hit on me.
No, that's a conclusion. I want to know what he said.
Told me that I could sleep in his bed, all kinds of stuff. I mean, and he, like I said, he also had the lady Lou, or I can't remember her name exactly.
I'm asking you to tell me just this. How did he hit on you? What did he say?
All kinds of things. He said that I was beautiful, things like that, things of that nature. And then whenever I denied him, he called me.
Did you ever whenever you denied him, what does that mean? Denied him what?
Like said no. Like, no.
You're beautiful and your answer's no.
No. I mean, I'm talking about sexual things.
You're trying to tell me that he's only suing you because he's angry that you turned him down sexually. And I have to conclude...
I'm not saying that that's why he's suing me. I'm not saying that's why he's suing me.
Are you saying that's why he's lying about the amount?
Yes, I believe,
okay,
yes.
Then now I need to go into it because it's your defense. So I need to know, and I'm going to ask you for the fourth and final time.
He wanted me to sleep with him.
How he solicited you. What were the words he used?
He wanted me to sleep with him.
What were the words he used?
That he wanted me to do things with him. He wanted me to sleep with him. He wanted me to touch him, to do sexual things for him. And when I turned him down, it was but like I said, he started drinking at 5 o'clock.
Can I ask you, why were you flirting with him in order to get money from him for you or your sister or whoever else you were hitting him up for money from?
Absolutely not. We are grown adults, and you only do what you want to do, okay? Not saying I felt comfortable asking him for money, but like I said, I asked him for the $20, the $10, and the $100. I never asked him for $100 twice.
Show me the promissory note you're talking about that you signed that had a different number.
You have it. No, that's
the one I have says $395, and if it was good enough for you, it's good enough for me. I'm ordering you to pay the plaintiff the $395.
Okay.
So, Mr. McGill, the plaintiff prevails. He's going to get the $395 he's suing for. Ms. Everett, let me ask you what your response is. How do you feel about the judge's decision?
He's a liar.
Why is he a liar? Why do you say that?
Because he just is. He is, but it's okay. He's got to face God, not me with that. So that's on him.
All right. Well, you got to give him that money, $395. That's what the court has said. All right. Mr. McGill, she said a lot of things about you that you were doing. Do you want to respond to what she was saying? Any truth to any of that?
Well, I believe it was either Ogden Nash or Ashley Brilliant that said, "I love the light that lies in women's eyes and lies and lies and lies." So that's about all there is all to that.
That's all there is you want to say there. All right. Well, you're going to get the $395 back. Are you glad you filed a lawsuit against you? Did you think long and hard about that or not?
Well, I am. I wasn't trying to be vindictive or punish her or anything. I just wanted my money back. I'm just glad the judge didn't punish me for being foolish.
All right, Mr. McGill, you have prevailed. Congratulations. Good for you.
Okay, come on. A blank promissory note, Doug. Ridiculous. And really leads to the point that judges are allowed to use common sense in deciding what's right and what's wrong, who's lying, who's telling the truth. In this case, it's pretty obvious.
I have a 22-year-old daughter that can argue the stripes off a zebra. Do your daughters ever win arguments? And if so, please give us the gist of that.
Oh, my God. We hear this all the time where people say, "Oh, I feel so sorry for your daughters." Two
kids.
Judges as parents.
What's the
they're fruit of our loins.
Like, right?
What do you think they're like? And we were both trial lawyers, and the three of them could argue anything all the time and do.
Right. Our dinner discussion is just one giant argument.
Well, yeah, everybody talking over everybody else and the volume, and you telling everybody to lower their voices.
I keep chiming in, thinking one day I'm gonna win one. But, so I never give up. I don't throw in the towel because the odds are in my favor. Eventually, I've got to win.
We have a family text group that we call Squad, and then it's been going on for years, obviously. And sometimes I will scroll because I will have been wherever for an hour or two, and I will scroll, and I'll scroll like 100 times because you're all arguing over the text.
Right.
Some political arguing about some politics
current
and
events,
some current event that just happened. It's nuts.
Right.